Hi race fans, I'm Michael Schumacher, and I just wanted to congratulate Gareth Jones on Speed for reaching the milestone of 50 episodes. Well done! But you still have a long way to go before you match my achievements, Welsh boy. Yeehaw!
Gareth Jones on Speed!
You have downloaded Gareth Jones on Speed, episode 50, as an MP3 audio version of this podcast. From the 9th of March, this episode will also be made available to download as an enhanced version with images that you can view on your iPod or computer.
Hello, welcome to the show. I'm, well, you know who I am. With me, Richard Porter. Just back from Geneva.
Yes, from the motor show at Geneva.
And how much did you enjoy? Because I know you went to Geneva last year and we talked about it on the show, and I know it's probably your favourite show of all the motor shows, isn't it? Why?
It's about the only show I go to. I don't know, I've never been to Frankfurt or Detroit or Tokyo or any of these other ones. I've only ever been to Geneva and the Birmingham NEC. Which may it rest in peace. And Geneva's great because it's quite compact, but also you get lots of new stuff there.
And the biggest, I don't know, yeah, probably for me personally, the most exciting car at Geneva this year. And it's not, the Maserati 8C convertible, it's not the Zagato Bentley or anything like that. It's what up until now has been the Ford Verve, and is now the new Ford Fiesta.
I knew you were going to say that because you being a Ford man. I bring you good news, Mr. Jones, from faraway lands, because that new Fiesta looks really good. It does look like the concept. It genuinely does.
Really?
Yeah, but more than that, it's because the concept was concepty and, quite complicated, and the three-door looks quite rakish and interesting. They've managed to maintain most of that in real life. And we were looking at it. They had two of them. We went to this little preview the night before. They had a 5-door and a 3-door for us to poke around. And I was just standing and staring at it for a while in that sort of geeky way that you do. And I was thinking, imagine seeing these parked at the side of the street and then compare that to the existing Fiesta, which, let's face it, is not the most exciting looking car in the world. It's fantastic. It's a really, really nice bit of work. And I met the bloke who designed it as well. He's a proper Yorkshire lad.
Who is?
I can't remember his name. Chris. Okay. He's called Chris.
Right. Yeah.
But it's brilliant. Martin Smith, the boss of Ford Design, who's also from Yorkshire. And so they've got this kind of Yorkshire stranglehold in the Ford Design studio. But yeah, this guy, Chris, proper Yorkshire lad, and works out of Dunton in Essex, where Ford's small car operations are done. Boy's done a good job. Boy's done a really good job because it's great. And the interior's nice as well. It's sort of got this, what they're claiming is a mobile phone inspired dashboard, but it just feels like a step on from the last car. It's much nicer than I suppose a Clio or something like that. It's just a bit funkier.
It's a bigger car than the Fiesta ever has been. It's
No, it's not.
It looks huge.
Kept the same size. Yeah, I know it does. I think it must be taller. I've not checked this, but it's the same size as the old Fiesta overall in terms of what they call the footprint of it, but it's lighter because it's based around the same sort of box of bits as that Mazda 2, which they put a lot of work into making lighter. So yeah, it's a lighter car, same size. It's not getting ridiculously big. It's not got that sort of like Peugeot 207 being a case in point, where it just seems to be improbably huge now. So no, all good things actually, but a lot of room in it. Actually, it's not too bad. Back seat, plenty of room. I mean, obviously the ones they showed off to us were the top of the range ones, and so they've got all the bits of trim and stuff like that, and the really, really good seats, which are slightly retro. One of the cars we looked at had these sort of strips, like horizontal strips on the seat back and the cushion, which are actually sort of almost plasticky.
Wow.
But you don't feel it when you sit on them. They've got kind of rounded ends. So there's this sort of retro ribbing effect on the seats, like a sort of block of 4 or 5 ribs on the back of the seat and another one on the cushion. Quite nice. It's one of those cars that feels like they've put a little bit more work in. Punto's the same. You get that Grande Punto at the moment, and some of the seats, you can get black seats, but they've got orange, like a little sort of orange noughts and crosses board almost, of little orange squares in it, like a 3x3 thing. And it's like, it doesn't cost them any more to do that, really. It's just about putting the effort in.
Devil's in the detail.
Yeah, the effort that, say, the VW Polo doesn't have in it. It was a very sensible car, but it just, you don't get in it and go, yeah, this is nice. And that Fiesta, I think they're most of the way there to making you get in and go, yeah, this is quite groovy.
A Yorkshire Fiesta, I like that idea.
Yeah.
I read recently that the Grand Voyager, the Chrysler Grand Voyager, was tested in Yorkshire.
Yeah, it was.
As well,
yeah.
because of the roads there, I reckon.
Yeah.
Which made me think that, the Grand Voyager, no wonder it's a Yorkshire car.
It grand.
Which reminds me, another American thing, the Grand Canyon. If that was in Yorkshire, it'd still be called the Grand Canyon, wouldn't it?
Well, no, but people from Yorkshire like to underplay things, so just because, it's all right, Canyon, it's all right, better than one of them Lancashire canyons. It may gladden your Welsh heart to know, though, that amongst other things, Lexus have tested cars in North Wales.
Really?
BMW were interested to find out where Rover tested their cars in North Wales, which they'd done for years, since the 60s, and BMW still go up there and test cars.
And, of course, the original Range Rover was developed in Wales as well. Yeah.
And Richard Parry-Jones, he's Welsh, no, always said. He's retiring now, but as his boss of Ford.
Hang on. For the benefit of those who are not in the room with us, which I think is everyone except you and me, I actually punched the air when you said Richard Parry-Jones.
Yeah, you did, didn't you? Yeah. It's quite sweet. He'd be very flattered, I'm sure. But no, he has his favourite roads in North Wales, so all Fords have given their final shakedown there, all Jags, all Land Rovers under his control. And he even had the current Mazda MX-5, he made them ship a prototype over from Japan just so he could go and test it on his favourite roads in North Wales.
I remember reading that as well.
And then he told them it wasn't quite good enough, and all these little Japanese engineers were a bit like,
good enough for Wales, good enough for the world.
Exactly. Where are we going with this? Oh, yeah, we're talking about Geneva show, not Wales.
All right, we'll stay with small cars.
Yes.
Because probably the smallest, or certainly the cheapest car at the show is this Tata Nano.
Yeah. Now,
it's going to sell in India for the equivalent of £1,500. Is that right, for the base model?
Yes.
Really?
And no, dead on. Ratan Tata is a man of his word.
And for that, you get a car that is pretty much like the Daewoo Matiz in terms of scale.
Yeah, it's tiny. I mean, it's smaller than a Matiz, and the wheels are comedy small. They really are. But I think we're used to cars being, as they've got taller, getting wheels that are broadly in proportion, and suddenly you've got a car that's like an old Mini. I mean, you look at an old school Mini, and actually the wheels on it are tiny.
Were they 10-inch wheels or something?
Yeah, originally they were. Yeah. I think the Nano rides on like 12-inch or 13-inch wheels. They're not actually that small. But anyway, the thing is, they brought a couple of Nanos to the Geneva show just to sound people out, because I read an interview with Ratan Tata, and he was amazed at the reaction that it got in Europe. Somewhere that he'd never said he would necessarily sell that car, but everybody went nuts, including the business press, who obviously interested in it for financial reasons. So they brought a couple over, show them off at Geneva, just because they got a stand there. They've had a stand there for years, actually.
Tata, I remember, they've had those trucks based on... Were they based on Mercedes running gear originally or something? I'm not sure.
I don't know. No, they do. Well, they had the Delta Safari and stuff, 4x4s, and then, of course, the Indica, which became the City Rover.
I saw one the other day.
What, City Rover?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Is this a record?
Yes, I'm going to say it is. Yeah, basically, you saw an idiot the other day. Tata have had a stand there, so they thought, well, bring over a couple of Nanos, we'll show them off to people, just, see what reaction is. They've not ruled out selling it in Europe, but they've said they won't sell it in Europe unless it gets a 4-star Euro NCAP rating. Big words. But anyway, so there's one on a turntable, and there's one on the sort of shop floor at the show. Now,
can I just say, as a Tata Nano, it's so small. When you say it's on a turntable, it was on like a record turntable, a 12-inch was it, spinning around.
Yeah, it's just, and then they had the Tata Shuffle as well, which is much smaller, but it hasn't got a screen on it, so you take your choice. So they had these two Nanos, one on the turntable. You couldn't get that, but they had one on the floor of the stand. I didn't see a bigger crowd around a car all day at a press day at the Geneva show. But what was really interesting was you had to sort of muscle your way through the crowd, and I was watching what other people did when they got up to this car, and I know, because I did exactly the same thing. The first thing you do when you walk up to that car is you tap it.
To see how solid it is.
To see, because it just, I don't know, but it's really weird. And actually, it sounds like any other cheap car. It just makes ting ting. It's not tinny particularly, it's made of metal. Yeah. But I think everyone thought it was going to be made of wet cardboard and they'd be able to poke their finger through it. But I watched, everybody walked up and tapped it. It was locked, so you couldn't get in. Some dignitary arrived with Ratan Tata, and this very, very subservient little Indian guy came up and opened the door for him. He sat in. I was standing behind him, so I got a look at the interior, which looks plasticky, but not dreadful. Yeah. And then this guy got out, and very quickly the little guy with the key shut the door and locked it again. And as he pulled the key out, I noticed the key looked like, if you go swimming at a leisure centre and they give you a locker key, the key looks like that. That's my scoop on the Tata Nano. But no, tap it. Everyone goes up and taps it. But huge crowd. Everyone's fascinated by that car.
Do you have to put 20p in the lock to get your key out?
But the nice thing is it comes as standard with a little safety pin on it, so you can hook it to your trunks when you leave it.
I fancy a Tata Nano because, being a dad, a great deal of my driving these days is delivering my two boys to various clubs and things that they do in the neighbourhood here in North London. Now, I love driving my big fast 3-litre, very fast rear-wheel drive GT. Great for motorways. I don't really feel very good about doing these little 1 mile, 3 mile, 2 mile shuttle jobs in that. I'd love a Tata Nano for 1,500 quid to do that. I might be tempted to buy one if it were available in Europe, but that's not the issue here. The issue that most people seem to complain about the Tata Nano is that, that's not a good thing. How many are they going to sell? 5 million, 10 million, 15 million, something?
I can't remember the figures.
Millions.
A lot, yeah.
A lot of people complain that well, that's just going to put more cars on the road, it's going to destroy the environment and all that kind of thing. Two things I want to say about this. The first one is that we've got no right to stop any other country from developing, because we've been through it, we made those mistakes. We can advise, but we certainly can't complain. And I can't remember what the other point was.
Well, the other object of that car is to get Indian families off mopeds and things.
That's what I was going to say.
I'm pretty sure that the average moped engine, a badly maintained old moped particularly, is putting out no more gunk and gas than a brand new modern engine in a Tata Nano. So
whereas a Tata Nano will be carrying 4 people and Violet Berlin, what
about manufacturing?
The cost of manufacturing a vehicle like that and putting stuff into the green guilty voice you're like the green devil on my shoulder, V.
Yeah, I think that everyone should just stop right now, stop breathing, and the planet will be fine.
We should all become very zen. Assuming that that's not going to happen, the Tata Nano's not a bad idea, really. I mean, it's a reasonably green engine, isn't it?
Oh, well, yeah, it's new. It's going to work reasonably well. I don't know. And I mean,
would you drive one in London?
I'll get back to you on that. I like the idea of it because I really like small cars, but I'm really fascinated. I mean, genuinely fascinated by it because, as I think everyone is, as the crowd at Geneva proved, everybody, and car journalists who make up the bulk of the attendees on press day are a cynical bunch, but I think everyone was genuinely fascinated and enthusiastic about it and kind of positive. And this brings me on to another thing, another small car at the show. The Toyota IQ, which is sort of Toyota's take on a smart car, but it has 3 seats and it's front engine. And every sort of 15-20 minutes at the Geneva show, there's another unveiling of something. There's a very rigorous schedule about this, so you're told it's like 9:45 Citroën will take the cover off something, and then 10:15 you get to BMW and they'll do something, and so on. And mid-afternoon, Toyota officially took this huge sort of illuminated tube. They descended over this IQ to reveal the production version of it. And there was no bigger crowd at any unveiling throughout the day as there was for this IQ, which I think tells us something. So people are fascinated by the Nano, they're fascinated by Toyota IQ. It's like, I think everyone's cottoned on that small cars might be the future. So let's see what people are doing in small cars. That when they're doing something interesting, when they've thought laterally, as both Toyota have with this IQ and Tata have with the Nano, we can see a sort of future that they might be really good to drive as well if you really like cars. And so people have become sort of more interested in those, and say Ferrari have just got to stand there with their normal stuff on it, and a beautiful old Daytona, 40 years the Daytona, so they've got an old Daytona, and my heart leapt a little bit.
I believe in small, lightweight cars. I think the minimum automobile concept is a great place to start from. At one end you've got the Ariel Atom. That's your minimum automobile sports car, now available with a V8. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I know.
What? And then on the other hand, no need. And then on the other hand, you've got the Tata Nano, which is the minimum automobile, people mover, if you like.
Well, I was thinking about this today, though, because I think if you're a real car fan, you understand that fun is not index linked to power. I've had more giggles in a 59 horsepower Ford Ka than I have in, say, a 200 horsepower Mercedes. That's actually a bit leaden and a bit dull. It's always about more than just power, and that small light cars can be some of the best giggles you can have. Because there's nothing more satisfying than really ringing a car for all it's got. I mean, it's
coming
a
back.
joy.
Yeah, that's true. When you're working at the extremes of the car, you're really driving it.
I mean,
aren't you?
I absolutely bloody love BMW M5s and Merc E63s and things like that, but they almost make it too easy to go quickly. And in the end, you actually think, I'm not going quick enough to use all the potential of the car, and then you crash into something.
One last thought before we take a break. Stop enjoying yourself, Berlin. One last thought. You know, if this deal with Tata...
Can we have a laugh track from now on, actually? Quite enjoyed that. I said something really crass and I got a giggle from the background. Sorry, go on, yeah.
If this deal with Tata does go through, and it's been stalled for 3 months or something now, it's supposed to be announced...
due diligence, what I was going to say.
This is the deal in which Tata will acquire the Jaguar and Land Rover brands. Here's the question. Will they acquire the Daimler brand as well, because then you could do like a Tata Nano, the Daimler version, the Van den Pla Tata Nano. There'll be more from Geneva after this short break.
New on Quaaludes Records. Now this is what we call songs about central locking 3. Featuring the Pit Stop Boys with single point entry. I hit the button twice when there's a friend with me, because you know my car has single point entry. The salesman told me that it's for security, and that is why my car has single point entry. Run BMC with Flip in it.
Push that button, it ain't that hard to gain access to your Escalade when you're flipping it. Yeah, flipping it. Finger on the fob, it ain't so strange. Put it to your head to increase the range.
Increase the range
when you're flipping it. Watch me flipping it. Oh, watch me flipping it. Oh.
And from James Shunt, the top 24 smash, battery's gone. The batteries have gone in the remote control for my car. I could use the key, but it would set off the alarm. And even if I could get in there, something would still be wrong, 'cause without the rolling code, the immobilizer stays on. I need new Duracells for the remote to my Fiesta LX. Now this is what we call songs about central locking 3 from the people who brought you 26 ballads about dual zone climate control.
Yes, Central with Gareth Jones on Speed!
You're listening to Gareth Jones on Speed, Richard Porter's annual Geneva report. Richard, I just had a thought, actually. You know, the Fiesta...
Yes.
Launched at Geneva.
Yeah.
Swiss show.
Yeah.
It was originally going to be called the Verve.
Yes.
Right? Do you think there could be a version by Bitter, you know Bitter, the Swiss car manufacturer, that they should do the Verve Bittersweet Symphony? I'm really sorry, it was just freestyling. Can I ask you about a brand? You know I'm a Ford man, you've said so, but I'm also a Lancia man.
Yes.
Not Lancia, Lancia.
Yes, okay.
I had an Italian brother-in-law who kept correcting me, and I have to carry on with her. There's a new Lancia Delta which we're going to get here in Britain.
Yeah.
Tell me it's as nice as my old Lancia HPE was.
What's the word I'm looking for? No.
Really?
No, it's not. It's not great.
Really?
Particularly in profile. It looks gopingly massive, and the front overhang is huge.
Really?
It just looks a bit overdone. I don't know what it is. It's based on the Fiat Bravo, which is, a pretty nice looking car. He's starting to see him around now over here, and yeah, that's all right, quite a handsome car. I don't know, it's like they've sort of upscaled it by about 12%. It just looks too big and a bit too fussy and a bit overdone. And
Fussy's the word.
Fussy.
Detail, a bit too much detail, little haunches, bits of chrome.
Yeah. I think it's no coincidence that in pretty much a dead heat with Alfa Romeo, Lancia had the most sexy girls in the shortest skirts out of the whole of the Geneva show. Who says the car industry's sexist and outdated? But anyway, and I can't help thinking maybe they'd done that deliberately to distract people from the fact that they had this sort of elephant man car there.
They had a Fulvia there. Did you see a Fulvia? No.
No, I didn't. But there was quite a lot of hubbub on the stand. Quite a lot of crowds there, because I think this Delta is supposed to be the reinvention of Lancia, so people were obviously interested, but...
Lancia.
And yeah, I'm not convinced about that. Not convinced.
I'm nervous. Yeah. I'm nervous because Fiat Group struggle selling Alfa Romeo in this country.
People like Alfa Romeos. There's still a sort of affection for them. I'm not sure that Lancia have that kind of reputation anymore.
No, I think it's just me and Frankie Dettori, and that's it, left.
So 2 cars then. They're going to
sell 1 each.
Yeah, and no, that's a shame. Didn't like that at all, really. Not good.
Okay, staying with another Euro. Well, it's not a coupe, the Delta, is it? But the new Euro coupe, the Volkswagen Scirocco.
Yes.
You like, mister?
I like, but I'm not sure that it's a coupe. It looks like a very pleasant, slightly low hatchback.
Almost a shooting brake,
if you will. Yes. No, it's not. It's not that rakish. It is slightly low, but from a distance, it just looks like a sort of quite nice Audi A3 or something,
or a Kia Ceed.
Yeah, the closest thing I can think it sort of equates to is the Volvo C30. It's like that. It's sort of like that. But here's a weird thing: on the Volkswagen stand, the car that actually knocked me sideways in how nice it is that Passat CC. You know, that Merc CLS knockoff they've done based on the Passat. It's really nice. It looks amazing. I don't know who's going to buy it. My guess is no one, because what's the point? But God, it's a good-looking car.
In case you haven't seen it, it's a slightly more rounded Passat with thinner B-pillars. It's one of those sort of saloon coupe things.
Well, you'll say that, Mr. Johns, but actually the B-pillar's massive.
No,
yeah,
but hidden well.
Massive. Yeah, hidden well. It's got frameless doors. Now, I want a car with frameless doors in my life.
Yeah.
That's why I secretly lust to have a Hyundai XG30s and things like that. I just like inexplicable frameless doors.
Here's a car for you, right? This will go deep into your brain. Do you remember the Mitsubishi Diamante?
Yes.
You do?
Well, better than that, because my brother out in Australia, where he lives at the moment, has a Mitsubishi Magna, which has frameless doors. I love a car with pointless frameless doors. Anyway,
but you love the CC, Passat CC.
I think it's a great looking car. And speaking of cars on that platform, as we were, Skoda Superb, new Skoda Superb, not a handsome car, not nice looking at all. However, inside, extraordinary. And it has this tricksy boot where it's both a hatchback and a saloon. It's nuts. Now, I can't see the point of that, but I quite like the way they've done it anyway.
What, sort of a bustle back?
Yeah, it's like a bustle back, right? So you imagine it sort of looks like a saloon. Now, you push one button on the outside, the boot lid opens like a normal saloon. But you can shut that, you push another button, and the whole back of the car goes up like a hatchback.
Oh, so it actually, the boot opens and the window takes you...
Yeah. It's nuts. The first time I saw it, I went, that's brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant. And the more I thought about it, I thought, why? Yeah. Why is that? But because basically, you know, it's a Skoda Superb, so the next time I go to a provincial town, I'll get a minicab and it'll be one of those. And so I sat in the back just to check it out, to see, you know, to see what I'll be getting the next time that I'm back in Wilmslow. And God, it's roomy. It's really roomy. I'm looking forward to 3 years' time when I can ride in one of those cars.
Hold on, if I remember, the previous Skoda Superb was based on the longer wheelbase version of the Passat, the Chinese Passat, which is why the back is so roomy, is it?
Yes. And then this one, I'm not quite sure. They've got more clever with their platform sharing now, and they can do lots more variations of width and length and things like that. So I don't know which particular flavour of Passat this comes from, but it is the interior is great. It feels really quite well made in there. Loads of room in the back. Tricksy boot lid. So, you know, maybe open the normal boot if it's just a local job with a couple of soft bags, but if you're doing the airport run, you can open the full hatchback, get some suitcases in there. That's all I can think they've done it for.
Next car, the Land Rover LRX. LRX.
Yeah, well, it was the LRX Black at Geneva, because I thought, well, they've just resprayed that concept that they had in America. But no, they were both there, the white one and the black one, so what they've done is made another one.
Now, in the past, you said that this isn't really a car, it's an idea for a car, and they haven't got the technology worked out that goes in it. It's a hybrid system.
No. Well, this is a separate thing. I think they're saying that this will be a hybrid car, but there will also be regular versions of it. What this is Land Rover's take on the Mini. It's a small car from Land Rover. It's still a 4x4. It still sits very high, but it's funky and cheaper than a what's the smallest one? Freelander.
Yeah.
And and they're going to do it. So the reason they did this black one was to show how you could then accessorise it. So it had this contrast-coloured roof, which apparently is detachable. It's a detachable panel.
What?
Is that going to come off at speed? I don't know. And all these extra chrome bits on the front and stuff like that. And essentially, and quite shamelessly, but clever enough, because the Mini sells a load, they were just saying, well, this is our Mini, so Minis get accessorised to death. We'll show you how we're going to accessorise this. They're going to do that car, there's no question they're going to do it. And apparently now it's things like the concept has incredibly thin seats, because they're quite funky, and apparently it's quite hard to sell a car with thin seats to people, because they look in it and go, they're a bit thin, like being in church. And then, so they're trying to work out how they can do it and make them look thick but thin. Don't know how you do that. There's one for Jeff Banks. Draw stripes down them or
mirrors,
something. I don't know.
Mirrors and smoke. It's the only way.
No, do you remember that programme? What was it called that we had here that was with Des Lynam? How do they do that? And the answer was always with mirrors and computer graphics. Always.
And they never actually told you how they did it.
Des Lynam going, well, Jenny, it's all done with computers and mirrors and graphics. No! Anyway,
so when you interview someone from Land Rover,
mirrors.
The new LRX, you've got the slim seats, you can have some incredible drive. How do they do it? Well, we've used science and engineering, essentially.
No, you haven't. It's mirrors and computer graphics. Des Lynam told me.
Now, another British car, although I suppose the Land Rover is not really a British car anymore. It's sort of halfway between here and India, isn't it? No, sort of Hungarian. Another British car, and probably the most ambitious car, I would think, at Geneva is the Morgan Life car.
Yeah.
Now, Morgan are not known for doing cutting-edge super technology, are they?
Well, if you think that the regular Morgan, the old school one, has that front suspension that was originally developed in 1909. So it literally is Edwardian technology. And I said literally then, didn't I? And they've suddenly come up with this hydrogen fuel cell car, which they're doing in association with a variety of boffins. But the main point being that the most old school car companies has actually stolen a march on a number of people with this amazing cutting-edge technology. It looked really good. One of the fascinating things about it is that it has 135 section tyres. It looks essentially like it's running on bike wheels.
Yeah.
It's nuts. But I guess that's because, low rolling resistance and
the
stuff.
Figures claimed for it are unbelievable. It recovers 50% of the energy lost through braking. Not something like 5 or 20% at the moment, which is...
It's pretty crazy.
How are they going to do that? I mean, is it going to go into production, or is it's just a concept?
I think it's a concept for the time being, but it's something that they're still working on as a sort of, as a cumulative project to show the way forward. But it's a really, actually, a very nice looking thing. The interior is great, because the dashboard has these two sort of rolls of old elm wood of some sort. It looks like a 30s radio, in a nice way.
Elm or ash? They use ash for the frame, don't they? I wonder if they've gone with that.
Maybe it's ash, I don't know. It's certainly a tree with 3 letters in it, I know that. Could be oak, for that matter, or willow if you took some of the letters out. Anyway, it's got this thing, and it rolls down over the dashboard. It then sort of becomes the footwell for the passengers, and then it sweeps up and it provides the backing for the seat. So it's this one sort of continuous swirl of wood, which is sort of part of the structure of the interior. It's really nice, and they had this little video showing how it all goes together. But the means that the dashboard looks like a 1930s radio, but in that kind of slightly groovy retro way, like a Roberts DAB radio. Do you know what I mean? It's just got that sort of sense of modernity at the same time as being traditional. It was actually really nice. And
so if the future had happened in the past, this is what it would look like.
Yes, read a Dan Dare comic. That's what it's like.
It could have been you, the wood.
Oh, yeah.
Could have been.
Damn it! I knew there was one I was forgetting.
Yet another British car I want to talk about, the new Jag XKR-S.
Yes, R-S. I said, because the badge on the back looks, I think, a bit dodgy because it's got this hyphen in it, and I said, not Dodge the car company, just dodgy. I was using school slang there. And I said, why have you put a hyphen in it? It looks rubbish. And they said, we had to. We deliberately did that because otherwise it's just RS. And, it's a bit, well, no, it's more like sort of everyone uses RS, and Porsche might come knocking and go, excuse me, but, stop nicking our ideas. So, yeah.
All right, then, Gareth Jones on Speed listeners, if you ever see an XKR-S on the road, when you spot it, don't shout to your car mate, oh look, there's an XKR-S. You have to shout, oh look, there's an XKR-S.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that was all right. I mean, on the one hand, disappointing, it's got the same power as the existing XKR, but nothing wrong with that. It's not a slow car. They've done some stuff to the chassis, which sounds promising, but it just looked brilliant. Really good wheels. Which I always think is important.
Yeah.
And a little bit of body kit, and fine. It's basically a holding operation because everyone knows they've got this new 5-litre engine coming with 500 horsepower. So this is just sort of a way of keeping interest going in that car. And it looked brilliant. I mean, it really did look great. It made me do a little sort of man-wee. I'm not going to say...
You can't say do a little man-wee on a podcast.
Do that again.
You can't. It's on the subject of wheels. You're saying that wheels are like one of the most important aspects of a car. They can change the nature of the car.
Yes.
I was having this conversation with the absent Zog earlier this week, who asked me, should he upgrade his 944 wheels and stick on a set of Boxster wheels?
Oh no!
Or should he have his original wheels restored? I told him to have his original wheels restored.
Yeah.
But I said that if you are going to upgrade your wheels, a Boxster's not a bad area to go. I was going to stick Lancia into... Got me saying Lancia now! I was going to stick Lancia Integrale wheels on my old HPE.
Lancia Integral.
And I think that would have, because it's the same family, like half a generation or a generation later, it might just have worked.
I'm going to judge this on a case-by-case basis, but I think I've seen 944s on Boxster wheels not right, because of what we're talking before about wheels getting bigger to match the fact that cars are getting bigger. You put new wheels on an old car and it throws all the proportions out of whack. I think.
It can look like a child wearing size 11 wellies.
Yeah, exactly. Or a Labrador puppy where the feet are too big. Hold that thought for a minute.
All right, 2 cars before we finish.
Yes.
Audi R8 TDI, the world's first diesel supercar.
Yes. Yeah, that looks all right, actually. They seem to have spanked it up since they showed it at Detroit. They sprayed it red. Looked quite good. Looked better than the all-red R8 that I saw in Car Park the other week, which looked terrible.
Did it have the black panel?
No, everything was red. Looked like a gobstopper. Terrible.
I don't like the black panel. I think it's odd.
I think the silver one looks better. But anyway, we'll spec up our R8s later. But the TDI one looked good in red. They seem to put some more blingy stuff on it, and it looked good. It looked good. It looked better than in the back room at the Audi stand, as if they were embarrassed about it. They've got this one-off Q7 called the Q7 Coastline. I don't know why. Imagine Siegfried and Roy in car form. It was all white on the outside, tricksy sort of sparkly white paint. The inside, white leather. Oh, it was horrid. The only thing was that the boot was trimmed with teak with oak inlays, and that was really nice. But the white leather, no one needs that.
It's a huge car.
I got told to get out of it as well because I was wearing jeans, and this woman came up and she went, could you get out of that car, because it is a one-off, and the seats are already starting to show wear.
Richard, next time we send you to a motor show,
don't wear jeans.
Don't wear jeans. No. Wear a pair of cut-off jeans or something, and
then
go
naked.
God, get out of the car, please! You're going to market. Last car.
Yes.
Was this the most beautiful car at Geneva last year, and is this the most beautiful car at Geneva this year? The Alpha 8C previously, and now the Alpha 8C Cabriolet.
This would have been the most beautiful car at Geneva, but for one tiny problem brought on by Alfa Romeo themselves. That 8C convertible is absolutely gorgeous. It is a stunning car, possibly the best looking car of the last 10, maybe 20 years. It's fabulous. However, beside the big plinth with the 8C and the 8C convertible on it and the beautiful Italian ladies, there was a little sort of alcove And in it, they'd got the Alfa Tipo 33 Stradale, you know, that late 60s, early 70s road-going version of a race car, and they'd got the original prototype of that in this little dimly lit alcove with a mirrored ceiling, which was faintly pervy in itself. And I just stood there and stared at that car. That is one of my favourite cars of all time. It's so beautiful, so voluptuous, and suddenly the 8C looked like its kind of not quite as cute sister. It was extraordinary. So Alfa, in fact, scuppered themselves. But if you haven't got a Tipo 33 Stradale hanging around, and let's face it, no one has.
I did have, but...
No, well, mine got towed away. I haven't. It's been crushed. And 8C Competizione and its Cabrio sister. Beautiful cars.
You've been listening to Richard Porter and Gareth Jones on Speed. That's it for this show. We will be back on the very early hours of Sunday morning, hopefully within an hour of the first F1 race from Melbourne being over. We will have a hurriedly recorded report without you, Richard. It's just me and Zog next time, I believe. So
yeah, I'm going to ballet. I'm really sorry. It's not a manly thing to admit to, is it?
The truth is out. Say goodbye, Richard.
Goodbye.
And can you do what do they? A pas de deux? What do they call it? Ballet? No, it wouldn't work on the radio anyway.
I am on point, and I was for the whole of that broadcast. Feet are killing me.
Gareth Jones on Speed was a whiz-bang production.